Well, you read the title, and that ain't clickbait. Flint has decided that I am harassing him by criticizing him on YouTubes and Twitters, and he's going to report me to YouTube for harassment if I don't stop doing it and take down all my videos. Surprisingly enough, I actually have a few thoughts on this. Hi, my name is Dan, and welcome to Debunking. So last night, Flint unblocked me long enough to tell me, search Twitter for every time you mention me. It proves to any neutral observer that you are harassing me repeatedly, despite me asking you to stop. This is an online stalking, and harassing a fellow YouTuber, even off-platform, is against YouTube's policies. And then he said, because when you critiqued others, you called out their ideas and their data. You said they were wrong. A critique. When you critiqued me, you called me a liar and a con man, repeatedly. Big difference. You called me slimy and a weasel. You accused me of violating federal law and disrespecting a marginalized people's heritage. You incited people to call my place of employment demanding I be fired. These aren't critiques. These are slander and repeated harassment. After I've been polite and answered your questions for over a year. Disgusting. I didn't lie, and I'm not full of crap. You know you cut my off-the-cuff response that weren't even wrong out of context to be an asshole and a pathetic little troll man. Your last chance to delete your slander and harassment, or I will call you out for it and report you to YouTube for violating their rules. Stop! I know a bunch of you right there were like getting ready to open that browser and go yell at Flint's employer or turn him into YouTube or whatever. There's no point in doing that. Let's just discuss it for a second before you make any decisions, right? I mean, out the gate, yeah, of course, this is a cardinal sin on YouTube. You don't use the threat of abusing one of the YouTube's reporting systems to silence critics. That's beyond the pale. But especially when the criticisms that he's saying, the things he says about me, I mean, big shock, that's not accurate. I mean, I gave him months of me saying, hey, dude, the things that you said about Graham and people like me are getting Graham and people like me called racist by people that have tenured freaking letters next to their name, dude. And his response is, well, doesn't really matter. This is going on for months. And there's numerous things along these lines where it was very clear he doesn't give a shit. And then when he went on the debate, it was quite obvious that he took the criticisms I gave him. He never once acknowledged them when we discussed it, and he's certainly not going to go out in public and retract any of them, but he certainly kind of shifted his position in the debate. So it was very clear to me that he's being dishonest. This isn't an accident. He didn't accidentally put a graph from the Roman Empire up and say that it was from the Ice Age. That's not how this kind of stuff works. Now, when I make a response video, I don't cut him short in order to change the context. That's a pretty big claim, and I'm actually going to address that in a future video just to show that that's not accurate. Another thing that's kind of a big deal is he claimed that I incited people to go after his place of employment and contact his job and try to get him fired. I did the opposite. I told my followers not to do that, and both Jimmy Corsetti and Illegitimate Scholar said, hey, that's a good idea. We should probably tell our followers not to go try to get Flint fired, even though he's being an ass. And that's what we all did, right? So, yeah, some people were being mean to you, but I tried to make it stop. I'm still going to criticize you for lying, Flint, because you lied. But here's the thing, man. You're a public figure, Flint. I mean, check this out, guys.
I prefer to have my little corner of the internet, which me being a minor Z-level celebrity, as low on the celebrity chain as you can get, I still want my little corner of the internet to be a place for wholesome, real science.
Anyway, he's been on Joe Rogan, and it was a popular episode, and he's made public statements about me as well. So these things are fair game to criticize. I'm so sorry, Flint, but that's just how that works. And look, man, I don't make sock puppets of different accounts that chase him around and go yell at him. If he blocks me with one, I go yell at him with another. I don't do any of that. The only time I tag him is when I'm responding to something he has said about me personally recently. I don't go around and just be like, Flint Dibble sucks and tag. I don't do that shit, man. I do not do any of the stuff that would constitute harassment. I have made multiple videos about him, but I don't just make like 10 videos about him and nothing but. I consistently criticize him for specific points. I don't just say he's a terrible human being. And oftentimes, despite the fact that I call him a big, fat, bold-faced liar, I often throw him bones and say, hey, man, I think we should give the guy a pass here. For example, when Flint Dibble said that he was going to turn me into YouTube for harassing him and try to get my channel taken down, that's implied, obviously, I think we should give the man a pass here. I know. I just, hear me out. I know it's a little bit crazy. I know it's a little bit crazy, okay? But look, his threat has no teeth. His threat has no fucking teeth whatsoever. He called me a Nazi like 5 minutes later. Like, literally posts a fucking gif of the Nazi, the whole, like, are we the baddies? And he's like, oh, debunking in the modern days. Like, dude, at that point, you can't do that and then cry that somebody is firing at you, okay? You don't get to call people Nazis. And then, Jesus, I can't believe I'm being called Nazi, by the way. Sorry. But still, don't crucify this guy. This is something I want him and the entire archaeological community to learn, because I think this is really important. And I'm going to go ahead and give them a big fat free pass, so I hope they listen up to this. Now, this is beyond the pale for a YouTuber. In the YouTube community in general, threatening to abuse the system in any way to silence criticism is just about as low of a thing a person can do. But here's the deal. Scientists are notoriously socially awkward, to put it mildly. I mean, they tend to miss social clues, not understand simple expectations, and in general just act a bit off. I mean, this is old knowledge. I mean, we've all seen this memed in cartoons and movies for decades. But social media has shown us a bit more of their character. Most of the archaeologists who are active online seem to have anger issues. Emotional outbursts are very common. They frequently block and unblock the same person to yell, then hide. And then the way that they talk about the people they disagree with when discussing their field is often unbelievably cruel. And we've had some clues to this phenomenon for a long time, the best example being the potential threats against Tom Dillahay's life. To oversimplify things, Tom Dillahay was the man who overturned the Clovis First narrative. And he got his colleagues so angry, they put him and his family in harm's way with a dictator. It seems to me that that anger is attached to the lack of real value that archaeology generates for the public. I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to most sciences, archaeology is like a fluffer, okay? And don't get me wrong, I like being fluffed, okay? But it's not like there's no value, man. There's no really inherent value generated from it. It's nice, it's cool, but it doesn't manufacture anything. It doesn't make anything. And these guys are well aware that the janitor at their university offers more to the real world than they do. What they offer is something cool for people to look at, but that guy actually does something that needs done. And so, like, when they screw up, for example, I talk about this every once in a blue moon. When they screw up, nothing really bad happens. The paper gets freaking retracted and they has to be changed. Maybe some reputations get burnt. But when I worked as an electrician, guess what happened if I screwed up? Yeah, shit could go really bad, right? That's the difference, man. And they know it. They know that they're impotent, and that causes this little bit of anger to be like coupled with that whole crazy, not crazy, but that whole little social awkwardness that I spoke of just a moment ago. My point here is using YouTube's reporting system, or even threatening to do so, is such a bad PR move that even SSSniperwolf says, hey, I didn't do that, when she's accused of doing so. It's the kind of thing you pretty much got to be like Logan Paul under the gun from CoffeeZilla to actually pull it out and think it's a good tactic. But here's the thing. I know a lot of you that watch my content watch commentary channels as well, but I don't think Flint does. I think Flint thinks that Logan Paul is the person that's getting ready to fight Mike Tyson. And I think that he probably believes SSSniperwolf was a German infantry unit in World War II. I don't think that he has any clue about the YouTube commentary community or really anything outside of his little niche, and then probably shit like music that he likes and a cooking video or two, a handful of small things like most people that don't watch YouTube very often. But if you're in the trenches on YouTube, if you watch this stuff, like a lot of the people that watch this don't know anything about the commentary community either. You guys like pyramids and stuff, and I get that, but a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. If you recognize Charlie in my thumbnail a couple of videos, or Sneeko in one shortly thereafter, you know what I'm talking about, right? Some people don't get it, and they're not into that stuff, and that's just perfectly fine. My point here is, He really, really ended up in a bad spot here, but I don't think we should crucify him for it. I think this is more of a boomer doing stupid shit because he was emotional and angry and pissed off, knowing that I was getting ready to respond to yet another video that he was talking on Bill's channel off in some little corner, and he figured he might get away with that. But dude, it's just like when Graham goes on some live stream with somebody else's channel. Once you put it out there, this is how it goes. And just so to be very, very clear, for the archaeologists and the people that are watching that don't think that like this is that big of a deal on YouTube, I want you to pay attention to the following few clips, because this is a huge deal.
Over the last week or so, a situation has arisen between the YouTuber The Manni Show and the YouTuber Nguyen. This all started after Nguyen received a copyright strike from The Manni Show. A lot of people think that this copyright strike was done because The Manni Show did not like what the Nguyen guy was saying, so he did the classic 1-2 combo of being a dogshit YouTuber where you just strike any video that paints you in a light you're not too fond of, which is obviously a shitty thing to do. That's like the biggest taboo of being a content creator. When you start copyright striking anybody for any reason, you are permanently put into a category of YouTuber that you can never come out of.
Here are 8 YouTubers who had to fight off false accusations, starting with YouTube street interviewer Jimmy Zhang, who in July 2024 would be accused by cosplayer Laurel of filming her and her girlfriend Anne without their consent. But on July 16th, 2024, the YouTuber would pull out the receipts.
It is to falsely accuse someone of doing such things that they didn't do.
Following this cold hard evidence, the public's perception immediately shifted. It takes one person lying to mess up an entire career, making Laura delete her original post and turn off comments on all socials in a desperate attempt to mitigate backlash.
Veronica Wang, Pokimane, Alinity, and Ray William Johnson. What do all these people have in common? They're copy strikers. I appreciate that Ray William Johnson took down the claim. I also can't say for sure what the motivation behind the claim was originally. I can't say for a fact that it was because people were ridiculing him. I think what we'll find today here is a common theme. People just didn't like what was in the video, therefore it was taken down.
It's more than safe to say that SSSniperwolf is quickly becoming YouTube's most hated creator.
Why am I going after Sniperwolf in particular? After all, she's hardly the only person stealing other people's content and reaping all the benefits. The real reason is actually this. This is the official YouTube creators account on Twitter, with over 6 million followers, claiming she gets her ideas from her fans. What ideas? Quite literally, all she does is upload other people's TikToks. How is that an idea? What am I not getting here?
Unsurprisingly, Leah would try and frame herself in as the victim, despite her openly malicious behavior, quoting, "This creep has been harassing me for months," then plays victim saying I threatened him when I just wanted to talk to him. Not long after, Jack tweeted to counter Leah's biased claims. "The harassing you claim I've been doing is documenting recent examples of you stealing creators' content, stealing jokes, and failing to provide transformative commentary."
I've been critical of her content, but that does not equate to harassment.
There's a long list of people I'll never have respect for. Cheaters, drunk drivers, animal abusers, murderers. Yeah, that's right, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not gonna censor myself. I think you gotta be a real jerk to kill someone. And another thing that I'll never have respect for are pathetic scumbags that abuse the YouTube strike system because their feelings got hurt. And that has been happening quite a bit lately on the platform. It's been an incredible week for little slimy weasels that like to use the YouTube strike system because someone made a video they weren't overly happy about.
Now, despite in my last video the 2 people I gave lots of leniency to turning around and throwing it in my face and making me regret being kind to them at all, one guy, as a matter of fact, I actually provided him with the video I'd privated, and he's still being a dick. But anyway, despite all of that, I'm still going to be nice to Flint because I have to be able to sleep at night. And this isn't the same as what he did on Joe Rogan, okay? On Joe Rogan, he had prepared arguments that were inaccurate. Right now, what was that? Last night, he got on Twitter and he was just like, "Bah!" And look, man, I don't want to crucify the dude for that, okay? I would way rather that him and all the other archaeologists that get on YouTube kind of learn from this and be like, dude, we need to tone our shit down. We are a little over emotional. If we keep doing this stuff, guys like Dan that we keep saying have nothing but bad faith for us could totally nail us to a fucking tree, and he's not. So maybe we should roll it back a hair. Maybe we should dial it back just a hair. And you know, that's fine. If you don't want to do that, that's just fine. I'm just telling you, this is the kind of shit that ruins people's YouTube careers. So don't make these kinds of threats, man. You don't threaten to abuse the system. But please, let them learn from this. Let's not crucify them from this. We already hammer at them for the BS science stuff. Let's not hammer at them for the BS YouTuber stuff. Let them figure out how to be good scientists before they figure out how to be good YouTubers.